Welcome to the deep dive. Imagine you spend hours crafting this just like perfectly customized sales pitch.
Oh yeah, we've all been there.
Right. You hit send, you feel great about it. But the reality is, your email isn't even being read by a human.
Not at all.
It's instantly scanned, analyzed, and, well, filtered out by an AI gatekeeper that's designed specifically to keep you out of that prospect's inbox.
Which is just a wild reality to think about.
It really is. And that machine-to-machine standoff,
Yeah.
it isn't some distant sci-fi scenario. It is the immediate reality of what we're unpacking today, the agentic organization.
Yeah, and it fundamentally changes the physics of how business operates. I mean, we are officially in 2026, and we're moving away from software as this passive tool that just waits for our keystrokes.
Right. Digital transformation is old news.
Exactly. We're entering a phase where software acts as an autonomous digital teammate. And if you don't understand the mechanics of how these teammates think, you are going to be left behind very quickly.
Which brings us to our source material for today. We have an incredibly dense, forward-looking stack of insights pulled from the AI Agent Playbook.
Fantastic resource.
Yeah, it features research and strategies from HubSpot and our Greenfish. And our mission for this deep dive is really to shortcut your learning curve.
Because there's a lot to learn.
There is. So we're going to break down exactly how these AI agents act as independent digital teammates. We'll look at how they shift your role from an operator to a strategist.
And crucially, why buying the smartest AI on the market is honestly a massive waste of money if your underlying data infrastructure is a mess.
Exactly. And the stakes here are pretty much existential for a lot of companies, right?
Oh, absolutely. There is a quote in the playbook from Renzi Varghese at HubSpot Asia that just frames this perfectly. He notes that the companies making the shift to this model this year, they're already going to be 2 to 3 steps ahead of everyone else.
Wow, so the margin for error is shrinking fast.
It really is. So our goal today is to arm you with the conceptual framework you actually need to execute on this, to be the strategist, rather than just watching your competitors pull away.
Okay, let's get right into the nuts and bolts then, because a lot of people listening are probably already heavy users of automation.
Sure, they use it every day.
Right, you build workflows, you set up trigger events, you let the software run. So it's very easy to look at the phrase AI agent and just dismiss it as, a glossy marketing rebrand for the same if this, then that logic we've used for a decade.
Which is a really dangerous misconception. Traditional automation and agentic AI, they operate on completely different paradigms.
How so?
Well, automation is strictly deterministic. It is rule-based and sequential. You basically have to anticipate every single step. Like, if the user clicks this specific button, send this specific email 3 days later.
Okay, so it relies entirely on your ability to predict the future and map out every single pathway.
Exactly. But the moment a customer does something unpredictable, which, let's face it, they always do,
Oh,
the whole system shatters.
or it just traps the user in this endless, frustrating loop. I mean, if a customer replies to an automated email saying, actually, I want to upgrade my tier, but only if we can delay billing until Q3.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Right. A standard automation rule doesn't know how to parse that. It just fires off the next pre-written email in the sequence, completely ignoring the customer's actual context.
Exactly the problem. AI agents abandon that rigid sequence completely. Instead, they favor being goal-oriented.
Goal-oriented. Okay, break that down.
So they possess reasoning capabilities powered by these continuous feedback loops. The mechanism basically works like this. The agent accepts the information, analyzes the specific context of that information against the overarching goal you gave it.
Right.
Then it makes a decision on the best path forward, takes the action, and immediately learns from the result of that action to inform its next move.
Okay, let's unpack this with a visual because I think it helps.
Yeah.
It feels like the difference between a microwave and a master chef.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so a microwave is traditional automation. You punch in 2 minutes on the high setting, and it just bombards whatever's inside with radiation for exactly 120 seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't think about it.
Exactly. If you put a metal fork in there, it doesn't care. It runs the program and sets your kitchen on fire because it completely lacks the capacity to evaluate context.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it. The microwave has no concept of the ultimate goal, which is, preparing a good meal.
But the AI agent is the master chef. You don't hand a master chef a step-by-step manual on how to julienne carrots or boil water.
No, you'd never do that.
You just give them the objective. You say, prepare a 5-course meal for a vegan client. And the chef looks in the pantry evaluates the ingredients, adapts to the constraints, and dynamically figures out the best methodology to achieve that goal.
And this requires a massive psychological shift for leaders. I mean, for years, your primary interaction with software was essentially micromanagement.
You were setting up the rules and the step-by-step triggers.
Exactly. You map the logic trees.
Mm.
In an agentic organization, your role elevates. You define the objective, you set the boundaries, like the dietary restrictions, to use your chef analogy, and you just approve the outcomes.
The playbook is actually very blunt about this. It says, this isn't automation, it's true intelligence.
Yep.
Which, sounds fantastic in theory, but we have to address the elephant in the room here. If these agents are basically master chefs, why are so many enterprise AI initiatives crashing and burning right now?
Well, that's the dark side of the hype.
Yeah, the playbook pulls a really striking stat that points to a massive structural failure. It says 80% of enterprise data is trapped in scattered context.
Meaning the data is completely siloed. You have crucial customer interactions buried in individual email inboxes.
Hold on.
Support tickets sitting in a standalone help desk, billing history in some legacy ERP, and sales notes just scattered across a disjointed CRM.
So executives are essentially attempting to deploy these smart AI tools while only giving them access to, like, 20% of the actual picture. But wait, here is where I kind of struggle with the playbook's premise. Companies like OpenAI and Google, they spend billions training these massive language models to read the absolute worst, most unstructured garbage on the open internet, right?
Sure, Reddit threads, chaotic forums, broken Wikipedia pages.
Yeah, and the AI synthesizes it beautifully. So if these AI agents are so incredibly smart, why does a business need a pristine, unified customer platform? Why can't the AI just wade into my messy, scattered data and sort it out itself?
Because there is a vast difference between consumer AI summarizing information and enterprise AI actually executing actions based on that information. It's the timeless rule of GI go garbage in, garbage out.
Okay, explain the difference in stakes there.
If ChatGPT hallucinates a minor detail while it's summarizing a Reddit thread for you, the stakes are virtually zero. But if your enterprise AI agent relies on conflicting, siloed data to make a business decision, the fallout is catastrophic.
Right.
Imagine a detective trying to solve a murder, but they only have access to every fifth page of the prime suspect's diary.
Oh, wow.
And half those pages are written in a different language.
They might confidently arrest the wrong person.
Exactly. If your sales data says a client is ready to upsell, but your support data, which the AI can't see, shows that same client has filed 3 critical bug reports this week, what happens?
Your prospecting agent is going to send a wildly tone-deaf upsell email to an angry customer.
Yep. An AI agent acting on fragmented data will just execute the wrong decisions at incredible speed and scale.
So the chef might be brilliant, but if you lock them in a dark kitchen and hand them spoiled ingredients, they are still going to poison your guests.
That's a perfect way to put it. The AI needs a flawless foundation, which the playbook calls the single source of truth.
Makes sense. So how do we actually build that? How do we get the house in order?
This is where the playbook introduces the first tier of the new digital workforce from HubSpot's Breeze AI tools. It's called the data agent.
To the data agent.
Think of this as the ultimate prep cook working perpetually in the background. Its entire existence is dedicated to solving that scattered context problem through 4 main mechanisms: ingestion, deduplication, enrichment, and identity resolution.
Let's double-click on identity resolution, because that seems like the hardest technical hurdle to clear.
It's notoriously difficult.
I mean, if a customer messages my business on WhatsApp using their phone number, and then 3 days later fills out a web form using a corporate email address, historically, my system treats those as 2 completely different human beings.
And that creates a fractured customer journey. You don't have the full picture. The data agent solves this by constantly running probabilistic and deterministic matching algorithms in the background.
So it's looking for connections.
Right. It looks at IP footprints, behavioral signals, and semantic context to realize that, hey, the WhatsApp user complaining about a specific shipping delay matches the profile of the corporate email user who just logged a ticket about that same order number.
Oh, it's clever.
Yeah, and it merges them into one unified 360-degree profile.
So it cleans the data autonomously, meaning the core AI always has a single source of truth, the freshest, most accurate ingredients to work with.
Exactly.
Okay, so assuming we have the data foundation totally solid, let's move to the actual execution. What does it look like when these agents go to work for your business and start generating revenue? The playbook details 2 specific teammates, the prospecting agent and the customer agent.
Right, let's start with sales. The prospecting agent completely upends the traditional sales development model. I mean, the old playbook for SDRs was essentially a brute force numbers game.
Cold outreach.
Yeah. You scrape a list of 1,000 generic contacts, blast out an identical cold email, and just hope for a fraction of a percent to convert. It's exhausting manual work.
And it yields diminishing returns today. So the new model shifts from cold outreach to what the playbook calls contextual prospecting.
Exactly. Because the agent is sitting on top of that unified customer platform we just talked about, it doesn't just blast lists. It monitors your entire database for buying signals in real time.
Like a radar.
Right, an omnipresent radar. It knows the moment a high-value prospect from a target account spends 10 minutes reviewing your pricing page, or when a key decision maker engages with your company's latest white paper on LinkedIn.
And crucially, it doesn't just flag it. It takes those signals and instantly drafts hyper-personalized outreach rooted in that exact context.
The stat the playbook provides here is wild. It claims this can save sales teams up to 95% of their research time.
95%.
Mm-hmm.
If you apply that to the reality of your listener's sales floor, where an SDR spends, 4 hours a day manually digging through LinkedIn profiles and past CRM notes just to write a decent hook,
Yeah.
this agent essentially hands them 3.5 hours back every single day.
It fundamentally reallocates human capital from data mining back to actual relationship building.
But I know some sales directors are listening to this right now feeling a cold sweat.
Oh, for sure.
Because the idea of an autonomous machine independently firing off emails to their biggest enterprise accounts sounds like a massive liability. What stops the AI from aggressively spamming a CEO or, hallucinating a discount we don't even offer?
That is the most common fear. But you don't just let the AI run wild. The playbook addresses this head-on with a concept called plays.
Plays as in sports plays.
Kind of. A play is a highly structured framework that forces the AI through 5 specific layers of strategic guardrails before it is allowed to take any action.
Okay, let's walk through those layers because it illustrates exactly how the human stays in control. The first layer is the audience.
Right. You don't just say find leads. You define the exact parameters, like target mid-market CFOs in the logistics space and cap outreach to a maximum of 2 contacts per company.
Okay, so very targeted. Then the second layer is the selling context. You feed the AI the specific value proposition, the unique pain points of that industry, and the competitive differentiators it needs to highlight.
Exactly. You are giving it the narrative. Third is the outreach methodology. Like, are we putting them in a multi-step email sequence, or is this just a one-off touch point?
Got it. And the fourth layer, which I actually find fascinating, is the guardrails. This is where you actually dictate the tone and the brand voice. You tell the agent, be professional but conversational, never use jargon, and never offer a discount without approval.
You can even restrict its operating hours, so it only sends messages when that specific prospect is statistically most likely to be sitting at their desk.
Wow. And finally, the fifth layer is automation logic. And this is the safety net, right?
It is. This is where you hold the ultimate veto power. You can configure the agent so it merely drafts the contextual emails and parks them in a review folder.
So it doesn't send them automatically.
Right. The human SDR logs in, reviews the drafted perfection, tweaks one word, and hits send.
So you are the strategist defining the rules of engagement, and the AI is the tactical operator doing the heavy lifting. Now, bringing a prospect in the door is great, but keeping them is harder. That's where the actual profit margin lives. If we drop a newly acquired prospect into a clunky, rule-based service bottleneck, we lose them immediately.
Which is where the customer agent comes in for the service side. And
Yeah.
you really need to clarify immediately that this is not the chatbot from 5 years ago.
Oh man, we are all deeply scarred by those legacy bots. You type a nuanced question about a billing error, and it just endlessly loops you back to a generic main menu, completely ignoring what you actually wrote.
The classic, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Would you like a link to our FAQ?
It is infuriating.
It is. But those bots failed because, again, they were deterministic. They could only follow a pre-written script. The customer agent operates dynamically by ingesting unstructured data.
How does that work in practice?
It actively reads your internal knowledge bases, your complex technical PDFs, your recent blog posts, and the entire history of that customer's past CRM interactions.
And it synthesizes all of that to provide real-time, highly accurate answers. But the feature that caught my attention the most in the playbook, and this is huge for trust, is that it shows its sources.
Yes. When the customer agent gives an answer, it actually provides a footnote linking directly to the source material it used to generate that response.
Which is brilliant from a psychological standpoint. In an era where consumers are highly skeptical of AI hallucinations, showing your work builds immediate trust.
It proves the agent isn't just making up a refund policy. It is actively pointing to Section 4 of your actual service agreement.
The ROI metrics for this are just staggering. The playbook analyzed data from over 8,000 users and found the customer agent can resolve 65% of customer cases entirely on its own.
And that's operating across 9 different channels, including Line and WhatsApp.
Yeah, and it drops the average resolution time from 38 minutes down to under 2 minutes.
Think about the implication of that 65% resolution rate. It means your human support team is no longer functioning as password reset technicians or policy reciters.
Right, they're only dealing with the 35% of cases that are highly complex or emotionally charged or require nuanced human empathy.
Which brings up the handoff mechanism. Because a major friction point with legacy bots is when they hit a wall and just drop the conversation.
Yeah, they just give up.
Exactly. But the customer agent acts like a triage nurse. If it detects sentiment shifting to frustration, or if it recognizes a question requires a Tier 2 technical specialist, it seamlessly transfers the interaction to a human.
And it passes along the entire context of the chat, so the customer never has to type out their problem a second time.
It creates a completely frictionless escalation path. And this is actually why Art Galamardinoff from HubSpot Asia advises that if a business is overwhelmed and can only choose one agent to deploy first,
Yep.
it should be the customer agent. It is the most immediate, visible upgrade to the customer experience, and it honestly takes minutes to configure if your data foundation is solid.
Okay, so we've covered the internal mechanics. We've talked about cleaning the data, optimizing the sales outreach with plays, and streamlining customer service. But the playbook zooms out for this final section and explores a massive macro shift in how the outside world actually finds and interacts with your business.
This is a fascinating evolution.
Yeah, I mean, we are all fighting the SEO war, right? You optimize your site, you battle over long-tail keywords, you try to secure backlinks to rank on page 1 of Google. But the playbook suggests that battleground is quickly becoming obsolete.
Because buyer behavior is fundamentally changing. The era of typing fragmented keywords into a search bar and scrolling through 10 blue links, that's ending.
So what are they doing instead?
Buyers in 2026 are increasingly using conversational interfaces. They're using ChatGPT, Gemini, Google's AI overviews to conduct deep vendor research before they ever visit a company's website.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Instead of searching best CRM software, a buyer is opening ChatGPT and prompting, I am the CTO of a mid-sized logistics company with a highly remote workforce. Based on current market reviews, what are the top 3 platforms we should evaluate, and what are the hidden costs of each?
And if your marketing strategy is still entirely focused on traditional search engine optimization, you are totally invisible to that buyer.
Right, so the playbook talks about AEO. What is that, and why should the listener care?
AEO stands for AI Engine Optimization. SEO was about making sure your website could be found and indexed by a crawler. AEO is about ensuring an autonomous AI actually chooses your brand as the definitive, trustworthy answer to a complex prompt.
Okay, let's dissect the mechanics of that. If an LLM doesn't care about my perfectly optimized title tags, how do I actually win at AEO?
The playbook outlines 3 specific criteria, starting with eligibility.
And what does eligibility actually mean in plain English?
It basically comes down to how easily a machine learning model can parse your data. LLMs are sophisticated, but they prefer clarity. Like, if your product features are buried in a massive, chaotic wall of marketing fluff, the AI will struggle to extract the facts. You have to structure your data logically, use clear Q&A formats, well-organized tables, semantic HTML. If you make it easy for the model to extract the factual relationship between your product and its benefits, you become eligible to be the answer.
That makes total sense. Structure your digital house so the machine can read it. But the second criteria is trust, and this is where it gets complicated.
Very much so.
A search engine measures trust largely through backlinks. If a lot of sites link to you, you must be important. How does an LLM measure trust? because it doesn't just look at my homepage and take my word for it.
No, an LLM measures trust through consensus across multiple authoritative sources. It looks at your website, sure, but it also looks at third-party review sites, industry forums, news articles, and technical documentation.
Yeah.
If your messaging and your factual claims are consistent across all those disparate nodes, the model views your brand as a verified entity. But if your site claims one thing and user reviews consistently say another, the AI will just bypass you.
It demands absolute brand consistency across the entire internet.
Exactly.
And the third AEO criteria is model-specific preferences, which honestly blew my mind. It implies that these AI platforms have different, personalities you have to optimize for.
They absolutely do. They have different training architectures and weighting systems. ChatGPT, for instance, heavily favors high authority, factual, and deeply technical sources. It really wants to provide a definitive synthesized answer.
And what about Google?
Google's AI overviews have shown a tendency to blend authoritative content with community-driven insights, so it heavily weights discussions from platforms like Reddit or Quora to provide a more diverse set of perspectives.
Wow, so if your buyers are using ChatGPT, you really need to double down on publishing high-level technical white papers and authoritative guides. But if they are using Google AI, you need a robust community strategy, ensuring your brand is being discussed positively in forums.
Right.
You aren't just marketing to humans anymore. You have to market to the algorithms that those humans employ as their researchers.
It requires a completely integrated digital footprint. You can't just hack an algorithm with keywords anymore. You have to actually be the most authoritative, coherent presence in your industry.
Which really brings us to the ultimate takeaway from all this source material. Adopting these AI agents, from the data agent cleaning your foundation, to the prospecting and customer agents executing tasks, to optimizing for AEO, it is not a short-term IT project.
Definitely not. You cannot just buy a software license, hand it to your operations team, and expect a revelation.
It is a profound shift in your company's operating model. It elevates your role. You're removing the friction of manual data entry, the drudgery of cold emailing, the repetition of basic customer service, and you're asking your human employees to step up and become the grand strategists of an agentic organization.
As Art Gelamardanov noted, AI shouldn't just be viewed as a productivity tool. It must be an engine for revenue growth.
You are the master chef, overseeing a kitchen full of tireless, brilliant sous chefs. You set the menu, you establish the quality standards, and you let the digital teammates execute the chopping and boiling.
Exactly.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final puzzle to mull over, because the logical conclusion of all this is fascinating.
Oh, the machine-to-machine reality.
Exactly. We are rapidly building toward an ecosystem where your business's perfectly calibrated AI prospecting agent is drafting flawless, hyper-personalized, contextually brilliant outreach.
Yep.
And it is sending it directly into the inbox of your buyer's perfectly calibrated AI gatekeeping agent, which is designed to ruthlessly filter out noise.
It really becomes an arms race of algorithms.
It does. So when the digital landscape becomes entirely saturated with machine-to-machine perfection, where grammar is always flawless and personalization is always exact, perfection will no longer be a differentiator. It'll just be table stakes.
So true.
So the question becomes, how will human emotion, genuine intuition, and messy, beautiful authenticity adapt to cut through that noise? When an AI can perfectly mimic a caring tone, what will true human connection actually look like in business?
It forces us to redefine the value of human interaction entirely.
It really is the defining challenge of the next decade. Something to keep top of mind as you begin architecting your own digital team. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the agentic organization. We hope you leave this conversation equipped to be the strategist, ready to build a system that works tirelessly for you. Keep questioning the consensus, keep looking ahead, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.